Welcome to another game cast by Gwin and Rohans. That is GR StarCraft. We're casting here a game for Lzuruha. This is going to be LzhFantasy, the sick Terran micro god, versus Complexity's Ryze, a tip-top, Grandmaster level Zerg player. I believe he's top 20. Is he not, Rohans?
He's definitely up there. I'm not sure his
yeah.
exact ranking, but I know he's definitely a GM player, and I would assume he's at least top 50, yeah.
And looking at the map, we are on Tal'Darim Altar, absolutely a huge map, taken from the GSL map pool. We first saw it in the GSL Team League, and then finally in the actual GSL itself. And now Blizzard has decided to adopt it, and we see Fantasy throwing down that first supply depot. He's not walling off at a choke. Does this signify that we're going to see some 2-racks aggression out of him, do you think?
Most likely, yeah, I would imagine so. He'll probably put them, right at that little choke point there in between his main and his natural. But it's too early to tell, but we know he does like that opening, and we also know, Gwyn, that it's a very strong opening against Zergs. It works pretty well, I've heard.
Yeah, I actually, I'm surprised that more Terrans don't do it anymore. I've seen, at least on ladder, I feel like a lot more Terrans are going for like a Blue Flame or just a Hellion Banshee opening or just a Hellion opening followed up with that typical Marine tank style. But of course, it looks like actually Fantasy not opting for that, throwing down a barracks, but then getting a gas right after on 13. So we might see some quick tech out of him, because of this wide ramp and this wide opening. Hellions, again, very popular on this map. You can sneak behind, you got a lot of space behind the mineral line to maneuver of the Zerg base. It looks like in Zergland here, we did see a hatch first. Going to see a pool going down on 15. Pretty normal opening. As we see right now, it looks like the hatch was on 13, pool on 15. That looks like the Spanishiwa or the Ice Fisher build, actually, for those of you Zerg players out there.
Yeah, a very creative Zerg player you just mentioned there. I think going back to the Blue Flame Hellion opening that you're so used to seeing recently is, I think what it really does is it forces Zerg to either invest in quite a few spine crawlers, which I don't think is the right choice. I think it makes them invest in roaches. And, if that's not part of their initial game plan, I think that kind of sets Terran up. They're able to get a really nice timing push with a handful of Marines, maybe a medevac, and then like 6 to 8 Blue Flame Hellions, and it will just roast any infinite number of Lings and Banelings that Zerg has. So,
with good micro, of course, those Lings and Banelings are pretty ineffective against a Marine Hellion composition, and we've seen the micro out of Fantasy, so we know he's capable of that type of play. Here we see the scouting SCV coming in, seeing the late gas. This looks like a variance of the Ice Fisher build. We did see the same opening, that 13 hatch into a 15 pool. That is actually one of the most economic, if not the most economic, hatch first build for Zerg players. But often not preferred because you do get that pool a little bit late, and you do have to delay gas if you do this opening. But it looks like Ryze, opting to get the 1 gas now, and we see Fantasy looks like he will be doing a double Hellion option. Got that barracks and that factory swapping up onto that reactor so he can pump out twice as many Hellions.
Yeah, a couple Marines scaring a couple Zerglings, just trying to get some scouting information. They didn't know that there was a bunker being built and some Marines there. So Fantasy looking to kind of wall off where his natural will eventually be. He has no command center underway yet, but we do have an SCV and some money piled up, so I'm assuming he's going to be throwing that down as we speak, and there it goes.
Command center down on the low ground. Doesn't have to build it in the base, as he's got these Hellions going out, and of course Zerg, really after that fast expand, can only have Zerglings out. And look at how late that speed is. We're at almost 6 minutes into the game. Speed just started. 10 Lings in production. Probably knows, after scouting that, that gas. And oh, look at this. Ryze sacking Overlord in. Going to see that starport going down. Going to see the tech left. This is going to be that 1-1-1 build. We're going to see a 4 Hellion push into a Banshee. And Ryze sees it all. So I would not be surprised to see double Queen coming out of him to bring the total up to 4.
Yeah, he's already got 2 on the map. Lair just underway as well, so he wants to be able to have an Overseer out just in case he does decide to invest in both. But I just want to point out that was actually a really nice Overlord stack. Really good timing on it.
Certainly.
Marines weren't anywhere near it, so he definitely saw, I mean, when a Zerg sees a barracks with a tech lab right below a starport, inevitably I think we know what's going to happen from there. So.
And if we look at this, hold on a second, we have Banshees in the Zerg Natural roasting a ton of lings, has killed some drones, and staying alive pretty well. Just that one queen. Oh, all the lings dead at this point. Those are slow lings, mind you. Can't get a good surround. One spine crawler finally up, but these Hellions are doing so much damage to this drone line, denying mining for so long and killing, oh, even more drones.
Yeah, this one Hellion still out here harassing quite a few kills. And, you know, the crazy thing was his Fantasy actually misclicked during that whole battle. He actually got one round of shots off on the spine crawler there. Had he been targeting the drones, he probably would have killed 5 to 6 more. But still some solid damage. Nice Banshee or Banshee follow-up coming here. He has not invested in Cloak, so we may be seeing like a weird Marine, Hellion, Banshee, just straightforward engagement type of push here. I'm not sure.
Banshees, of course, you know, great harassment units, but they also do so much damage, so if you can keep them alive against a Zerg army that doesn't have a lot of anti-air, they can really, really destroy a Zerg army quickly. If we look at the workers killed tab, we see 9 workers killed for Fantasy, so pretty good harass there with those 4 Hellions. Definitely paid for himself, and it looks like he is pushing out with another 5.
Yeah, quite a few Zerglings just ran right past those, so these Hellions, if they can get in there, these Zerglings are kind of out of position, and Zerglings actually pushing in, trying to do some damage to the...
And look, I think he's just going to go for this bunker, and he's going to kill it off really quickly. This is a lot of Zerglings here invested in this attack, pulling his drones back. Going to go ahead and block a little bit with those SCVs, and oh no, Zerglings slipping into the main. I think these Banshees are going to clean this up, and we do have those Hellions as well. Looks like pulling some Zerglings away, but the Hellions are going to chase those down.
Yeah, I think he lost around 5 SCVs in that, so not too much damage was done, but we do have more lings being streamed in here, trying to take advantage of the fact that maybe Banshees do take some time to kill this many little tiny units, but these Hellions are at home. One of them gets picked off there, and Zerglings still continue to stream in. He's really committed to trying to slow whatever Fantasy's doing.
You know, and I feel like this is, you know, a good move in a situation like this. His economy was just hurt. You know, he wants to disrupt Fantasy's tech paths, make him spend a lot of units, make him keep his Banshees back at home, giving him time to do things like get another queen up. We see he's got 2 queens at the natural, 1 at the main, and another queen in production right now. That 3rd queen at the nat is gonna pop as these Banshees come in. Without Cloak and this many transfuses, I feel like, you know, Ryze is gonna be just fine against this.
Yeah, unless he misses a transfuse or some really sloppy micro. Yeah, there's 4 queens there, so they definitely need to overcall this.
And the first transfuse goes off, and a Banshee goes down. You do not want to be losing those Banshees as Terran. They are such high DPS units.
It's a very expensive investment as well. We do have some Banelings. Look at this, right at the front here, sneaking in there.
Oh, wow. Look at that push in. Banelings without speed, of course. And then with some good micro by Fantasy to keep his units from getting hit by that. Immediately going to rebuild that wall. And, I mean, a fully saturated natural there. Looks like a two precautionary spore callers going down at the main and the natural. For Ryze, take care of those Banshees which are sitting off in this corner, waiting to strike once again.
Yeah, we do actually have a Spire going down for Ryze, so he is going to be going some Mutas here, which is a pretty good response to this. I'm really a fan of Baneling Muta play, and there's not a lot of Marines or anti-air out in general for Fantasy yet, so...
Mutalisks are going to be particularly effective, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the upgrades, Fantasy actually opting to take armor first instead of weapons for his infantry.
Looks like he's actually got both down at the moment. He's doing the double eBay build there.
Ooh, I missed that.
Wants to really pump out those upgrades. You know, I wouldn't be surprised with Stim on the way and you know, Siege as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a +1, like a 1/1 push. It looks like, ooh, look at this, loading up 4 Hellions into a dropship. We're going to see some drop action here, you know, probably in the Zerg main where I only see 1 queen defending, and oh, so many tasty drones for that drop.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, Fantasy actually had a command center, and he's actually building another one in the exact same spot. Interesting. He morphed it into an orbital, but kept it in his main for basically until he feels safe to take a third, but he's